because that's the nature of the dog. In animal life, you can't change that instinct. So the consciousness is very covered over. But human life gives you full manifestation of consciousness. Full manifestation of consciousness means you can think about consequences. Hence, and this is the only species in which you gain karma. And on all other species, animal species, you're exhausting karma. Because you're not conscious, so you can't gain karma. But when you are conscious, every activity of yours has a consequence. Not just those ones that you choose to think about. Every single activity, even when you're sleeping on the bed, there is karma going on. You're walking on the street, there's karma going on. You're walking on the top of the head of the grass. You're stepping on someone's head. You think it's dead, but the grass isn't dead, it's alive. You're stepping on their heads. It's karma. The karma of stepping on someone's head. It's like the world. We may say it's benign. There's nobody there, nobody in charge. Just exploit the resources and just put my company's brand name on top of it. It's mine. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, that big encyclopedia we have there, there is in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Earth personified. She laughs and she cries, and there's a whole section in there, and she says, I have been here for all these years. So many kings have come, and they claim some land to be theirs, and they stay like really proud, but they come and then go, and then I'm witnessing this, and people are fighting over it, people are doing all these kind of things over it, but the earth is there. We put our names on resources. Who made these resources belong to somebody? Now there's a rise in spiritual economics, spiritual like side of business. This is coming up because of environmental issues making people think about it. People are questioning that. How did someone get to own resources? For example, again, I don't know the precise number, but Canada's freshwater are owned by many American companies. So if there was a water shortage, there's a lot of people out there who are putting options on water. Like, you buy shares, people are buying shares on water. They're like buying water rights in different parts of the world. You may not know that. You may think this is a lake in my neighborhood, but you may not have any right over it. So try and understand, like, all actions have consequences. Not like you said, good energy we put out, right? Like we as a society, we just support animal slaughter. Who here can deny being a part of a society like that? We just support, from our shoes to our clothes to what we eat. Whether it's necessary or not is not even a question. We just support animal slaughter, and so many of those slaughtered animals are just dumped into the ocean because it's past expiry. We were going in a food truck, and then the temperature of the food truck dropped below the required temperature for like 1 hour. These are real things. I'm not making it up, because I've done a lot of work with feeding the homeless and stuff, and with food banks, and you learn that from the food banks. They'll tell you the temperature fell below a certain temperature, throw the entire thing off because we might get sued. So all these animals slaughtered torturously. And have you ever seen a slaughterhouse? If you ever go inside a slaughterhouse, you'll see what happens to these animals. They're conscious, they're aware, they feel pain. Your dog feels pain. Why doesn't the cow, chicken, why don't they feel pain? How do we make up that certain group of society, certain living, moving creatures don't feel any pain? We just randomly say some people have souls, some people don't, right? We've done this in this society for a long time, and we've justified such cruel things on the basis of this kind of differentiation. But actually, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita will explain, Sarvagata, living entities are everywhere. And every action has a consequence, not just the ones that you choose to think about. Oh, I gave a cookie away to the homeless person. I did a good deed. So that's why this good thing is happening to us. It doesn't work like that. Everything that we do, there is a consequence. Remember, consciousness means consequences. That's the first part. So karma means, and I think you said it, I can't remember who said that point. You said it multiple lifetimes. Karma means that which results in the creation of a material body. If you look in the mirror and there is a material body, it means there is karma. The body is nothing but a bag of karma. And it's releasing that karma at different times of the day. It's designed in a specific way from the time of your conception, that it's going to release different karmas at different points. Some are born with congenital diseases, some are born with something else. Just releasing karma. So in a sense, and someone else, when you guys were mentioning, said cosmic force. Someone said forces of nature. I think you mentioned the point, like these forces are external and internal. You're correct. I'm just bringing in all of your points together from the angle of the Bhagavad Gita. You see, there are external forces that are in play. There, you may say it's not there, but at the time of your birth, the alignment of stars, the stars that influence the course of your life, and your karma, it's all precisely driven. Like, you will be born under certain stars, in a certain situation, in a certain family. You're not born in that family by chance. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens because you're meant to experience certain things. It's not by chance that you're born to certain parents. It's not by a chance that in this life you get an opportunity to serve your parents. It's a real benediction, actually. You may feel like, oh, but actually it's a real benediction. You get that chance to serve. So all of these things are precisely aligned. And you may sit here while this whole thing is going on and say, it's not true. I don't care. It's like somebody on the road saying, oh, there's no laws. Okay. The next thing that's going to happen, you'll crash and die. So that's what we do with our lives. We actually choose to ignore karma. But Bhagavad Gita is bringing the awareness to this point, causality. Now is me coming towards wrapping up like this conversation a little bit. So if there is karma, then you're thinking, okay, how do I do it right? How do I know the exact science? So what is good energy, like you said? And somebody said, what is good frequency, like you said? Give me a book. There is a book, actually, Manu Samhita, that explains the karma logic, but it's beyond our intelligence and it's for the higher planetary systems. But anyways, there are people who can sit and wonder, how do I manage this? There's some people in this world, for example, there's some spiritual sects, they will just cover their nose even. The face will be covered too. Why are they covering it? Because they're covering it thinking, oh wait, as I breathe in microbes, I'm going to kill them, I'm going to get karma. So they take that approach. They'll just cover their mouth so that they don't even breathe. They're so conscious of karma. So that's one approach to go. Yeah, there's like a whole sect of people like Jain, they'll do that. They'll cover their mouth like that, and they just don't want to breathe any bacteria, anything, and kill them. That's an approach. Someone else might be like, okay, I need to know. Like, I keep pointing at you because you said the energy point and you said the frequency point. Okay, give me a list of frequencies to tune in. Give me a list of good things to do. But here's the thing. This is very complicated. The science of karma is very complicated. And it's almost impossible for us to figure it out. Like, you'll be like tiptoeing with our little teeny intelligence. It's actually in the ancient times when people had longer lives and everything, you'd be trained from early on in your life in the proper science of karma. We don't even have parents we see for like 5 hours a day in our growing up. So what's the question of being trained? It's very hard to be trained when you have no one person that's taking care of you throughout. So we don't have that kind of background. So it's a bit easy to get lost. So the knowledge of karma. So what was I saying? Sorry, I forgot my chain of thought. I was talking about karma and how it requires training to be able to see exactly what it is. So the Bhagavad Gita is bringing out this point that there's 5. Let's open up the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, can you give a Bhagavad Gita to everybody? Let's open it up.
Is it our ego that's trying to think that we can comprehend it all and we're trying to control it? Is it our pride, our ego? Do we need humility?
When you came in, you said something that made me feel like you're very humble. You said, like, I don't know, right? Mm-hmm. You can say it's pride, ego, but it's mostly ignorance, lack of knowledge. Like, people want to be labeled, but how many people will actually study the scripture and actually understand? We're not trained, like, we just this is ignorance. We just don't know. Like, the intention is there. She said good frequency, she said good energy. The intention is there, but there's no knowledge. It's lack of knowledge. To become a saint is not something, an exclusive right of some people. The saintly people have provided the books through which we can also become like that. But do we have the desire to walk the talk? Like you made the point that I want to write a book, but am I going to write it? Like, am I going to mobilize the resources, just like he said? So, A, there is lack of knowledge. B, if the knowledge is presented, are we going to walk our talk? Because what's the underlying problem? The underlying problem is we are addicted to sense gratification. We just have this idea in our head, if I get what I want, I'm going to be satisfied. Although if you look around, you can never see that. No one's satisfied by getting what you want. Satisfaction is a virtue in itself. I was thinking about it, like oftentimes my friends or relatives, they'll say, oh, there's too many austerities, there's too much discipline, you get up too early in the morning, you do this. And I was laughing to myself. I was like, that's true. Sense control is very difficult. But then I was laughing because I was thinking, but I know sense gratification is impossible. Because, just being the first 21 years of my life, being a teenager and being in boarding school, I pretty much tried everything that I could to try and be happy. And I'm like, my body isn't going to get better than that. It doesn't exist. It seems like it exists. And every time you think you have it, you don't have it. If you're careful, you can actually see that. And if you're fortunate, you'll find saintly people who'll give you knowledge out of it. Because it can be depressing when you see that materially nothing will work out. Now, if you don't have any knowledge of the spiritual realm, you can get depressed. Actually, Prabhupada made the point, the author of the Bhagavad Gita, he made the point, you have to be a little bit depressed to make spiritual advancement. Little bit, not like extremely depressed, as in, he said, pessimistic about material life. If you're optimistic about material life, it's very difficult to make progress because you're thinking, I'll get it, I'll get it, I'll get it. You see, it's a real sense gratification, is a real addiction. Heavier than cocaine, heavier than all of those things. Did I miss out? The feeling of missing out, you guys know that, right? Have I missed out? Have I missed out? Have I missed out? It drives us crazy. So unless there is knowledge of something higher, we'll just keep going crazy like that. So back to Bhagavad Gita, the point I wanted to make is the Bhagavad Gita talks about 5 subject matters. So page 7, if you open up, well, just anybody who can open up and who has really good eyesight and can read from the subject matter. Yeah, page 7, from the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. Can you read that paragraph? Can anyone see it? You want to try, Goki?
Yeah. The subject of the Bhagavad Gita entails the comprehension of 5 basic truths. First of all, the science of God is explained, and then the constitutional position of the living entities, jivas.
Mm-hmm.
There is Ishvara, which means the controller, and there are jivas, the living entities which are controlled. If a living entity says that he is not controlled, but that he is free, then he is insane. The living being is controlled in every respect, at least in his conditioned life. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter deals with the Ishvara, the supreme controller, and the jivas, the controlled living entities. Prakriti, material nature, and time, the duration of existence of the whole universe or the manifestation of material nature. And karma, activity, are also discussed. The cosmic manifestation is full of different activities. All living entities are engaged in different activities. From Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is, what the living entities are, what the cosmic manifestation is, how it is controlled by time, and what the activities of the living entities are.
Thank you. Very powerfully summarizes everything that we discussed. And really, there's 5 topics in the Bhagavad Gita why I recommend one should read it. Jiva, the soul, us, we should know about ourselves. Ishvara, the supreme person, the nature. Not a faith, but just the nature of the supreme. Like if someone's supreme, what qualities should they meet? Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, this nature, material world that we live in, the game that we're playing. Kala, time, how it controls everything. These 4 are eternal. You cannot change it. So in a sense, you're saying you manifest this, that, and the other, but you're controlled by these four. The soul is under the control. And the soul's constantly trying to get some enjoyment. It's called bhoga from all of these. So the karma, the soul is in bhoga. When the living entity turns its head from prakriti, trying to find the time, kala, to try and enjoy this material nature, to the Supreme Lord, to Ishvara, when the head turns in that direction, that process becomes yoga. There's bhoga and there's yoga. Bhoga means I want to enjoy from matter. Yoga means I'm going to use everything I have to connect with the Supreme. That's the real difference. Karma is the only thing in these five things that you can change. But it's very difficult. Like the four are unchangeable. Ishvara, Jiva, the soul cannot be changed. The Lord cannot be changed. You know, time cannot be changed. Material nature cannot be. If there's a tsunami coming, it is coming. You can't change it. Karma you can change. Now how? Because karma is not something, karma is almost impossible to change. So it feels like it's eternal, like you said. It feels like it's eternal because it's carrying on for thousands and thousands and thousands of lifetimes. It is so powerful that when there's complete cosmic annihilation, at that time when the living entities retreat into the Supreme Person, even then, along with the soul, the desires, the karmic, this thing, it sticks. And when there's the next creation, the living entity comes forward, and the description used in the Bhagavad Gita is the living entity comes forth along with his desires. So those desires are like this leech that doesn't leave us, it just